It was a bizarre day. I mean, I had been working from home, so I was always at home by myself with the dog. And I called my sister, Sarah, and said, I said, I just left Jacob on that bus to go to this thing. And it was probably the first time, it's the first time he ever got on a bus to go away from me. Mm-hmm. And I said, I'm not feeling very good. Yeah. She said, well, you're probably anxious. We have a lot of anxiety in our family. We kind of make worrying a sport. And I was not feeling very good. At one point, I went to the car thinking maybe I should go to like urgent care or something. But when I sat in the car, I knew something wasn't right and that I shouldn't be driving a vehicle. I was just kind of dizzy and it's just things weren't right. And so I went back inside and then I got the pain in my chest. And it was a big pain. And I went, Self, you're having a heart attack. Call 911. And the last thing I remember at the house was them taking me out the door. And then I don't remember anything till the hospital.
Yeah. Normal day, I'd gotten up, I'd gone to work and
taken Lexi to
taking my daughter to school and got to work, and it wasn't, I don't know, 8:15 or so, and I got a call from the 911 operator saying that you'd had an episode. They thought it was a heart attack, and an ambulance was coming to get her. So next thing I knew, I was on my way to the hospital to try and figure out what was going on. Initially, they weren't, of course, real sure, but they were, because of the symptoms that she was having as far as the chest pain and radiating down her left arm and kind of usual heart attack kind of symptoms, they were checking all that out. And
it was only 48 at the time.
Yep. And they figured out that, yes, there was definitely a heart issue going on. And the thing that had them a little bit fuddled was that she didn't have any of the usual problems that cardiac patients
risks.
have. No.
Hypertension was it?
Yeah, she had some high blood pressure, and that was the only symptom prior. So got around to doing some imaging, and that's where they noticed the blockage and attempted to put a stent in and couldn't basically get the stent in, which is what I think triggered in their minds that what had actually happened as far as the actual dissection of the artery and the closing off of it. Mm-hmm. And once they figured that out, it was, let's hurry up and get her in the OR. So, and then we waited and waited and waited. And when the surgeon came in, she looked visibly shaken. It was one of those you could tell she had kind of been through the ringer. And she proceeded to let us know that they had some complications, that her heart stopped actually for quite a while, and they had a heck of a time trying to get it started again. The waiting was the tough part. Not knowing, from our end of it, she was down for over 8 minutes. And so we had no idea whether there was going to be brain damage or, what kind of other complications may have occurred while she was down. Kind of scares you a bit, just to know whether or not the same woman's going to wake up that went to sleep.
It makes me feel a little guilty.
Mm-hmm. No reason to feel guilty.
Well, I didn't want to put anybody through that.
And we're all just glad you made it through well. Had gotten you back together, and you were up and walking, and that was a good sign for everybody to kind of see that was happening. So, but and then it was a little bit of a road getting back to normal, but that was a lot of work too. Physical therapy and that sort of thing was was work for sure. So, post-op stuff was kind of the scary part. But then once you were up and awake and able to talk, and everybody kind of breathed a sigh of relief at that point and said, yep, we're going to be all right. So
the reason I wanted people to know about our story in particular was that my heart attack was caused by a spontaneous coronary artery dissection, or they call them SCADs, and they're the #1 heart attack that women under 50 have, and the #1 heart attack that pregnant women and recent mothers have. It was very scary for us. It could have been so much worse. It needs to be a focus for study, definitely. She told me that I saved myself because I called 911 right away. I mean, there wasn't, from the moment I felt pain, I knew I needed help. We have our children, Jacob and Alexa, and it would have been really sad for me not to be able to be with them. So that's very important to me that they know that I appreciate it.